Hey guys, thanks very much for joining me today. It has been quite a while, I feel like. I apologize if you can hear noise in the background. My downstairs neighbor has been like blasting some sort of music for quite a while, and it's like thumping my walls. Anyway, we're gonna continue because like I said, I haven't filmed anything in a while. I have been reading and DNFing and starting books, and I haven't discussed any of those, so let's do that today. I have my, oh, is that broken? Oh no. Oh, that's okay, it's not too bad. I just bought this yesterday, and I don't know if you can see it. All you can see is the stupid ring light, but right there, I did not notice that, but that's okay. I'll just be gentle with it. Anyway, I have my cart. You can't really see very much of it. I have two recent DNFs. Let's talk about them. First one, we'll make it nice and easy. Portrait of a Lady by Henry James. This was for a book club. I got a little over 100 pages through, and the pace was just excruciating. There is, I will say, something special to older classic books that kind of take their time, and it's not about huge plots. It's not about kind of whirlwind action or romance. It's just kind of quieter, everyday life topics. This one, I enjoyed myself for a bit because I kind of convinced myself, let's just go into it and accept it for what it is. And that only lasted me so long. And it lasted me about 100 pages. And then I figured, no, I don't have any interest in finishing this. So I did DNF it. Will I finish it one day? Maybe. I'm not holding out a ton of hope, but never say never, right? The second DNF, I'm so disappointed in myself. I had read three of the author's other books. I read a duology of hers that I really, really enjoyed. This is a trilogy I had been wanting to try for a while, and it just did not pan out. I think maybe I just wasn't in the mindset. I couldn't get into the writing. Maybe I just wasn't giving it as much attention as it needed. And that is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I don't know what happened, guys. First of all, I mean, what a cover. But I got a few chapters in, and I love the ideas that V.E. Schwab has. I think she's so creative, but I just was not feeling it this time. This one, I 100% plan on making another go at. So we'll see. Let's talk about a book real quick that I am in the middle of. I'm planning on doing a separate video of just this book because there's so much to discuss. And that is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. This I'm also reading for a book club. However, this book club is unique in that we only read probably 6 or 7 chapters at a time, and then we meet and we discuss them in depth, which is absolutely amazing. I'm really enjoying myself because everyone who goes to this is a complete and like utter unapologetic nerd about literature and about books and about characters, and we have some great discussions in it. I am on page 397, and there are almost 600 pages total, so I am over halfway there. I'm really enjoying this one, but I am reading it at the book club's pace because I don't want to go too far in advance. Part of the fun of this book club is kind of casting wagers on what we think is going to happen in the next section, and sometimes we are completely wrong and sometimes we're right. So I'm gonna keep slow going on this one. I planned, oh my goodness, I'm dropping everything. I planned on starting this today. I have not started it. Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. I've heard really good things about this. This has been on my TBR list for so long. I finally got the, when you listen to it, the audiobook. Finally got that yesterday and I have it, and I just have not started it because as I'm working, which is typically when I will listen to a lot of audiobooks, I just haven't been in the mood, and I've been looking at YouTube videos instead of cute dogs, so I need to get in this. Next, let's talk about finally some books that I have actually finished. First one we'll talk about is The Happiness Project. This is a rare nonfiction that I read. You guys know I mostly stick to fiction. It's an autobiography about Gretchen Rubin, the author, A Year in Her Life. Now this I read because I had to read nonfiction during 75 Hard, which turned into 30 Hard and then ended. I haven't filmed that portion though, so surprise, surprise, I didn't make it through to the end. But Gretchen Rubin lives in New York. She's married, she's got 2 kids, she's got a job that she really likes. She loves living in the city. She's got really good relationships with her family and friends. But one day she's just kind of ruminating on her life. I think she's riding a bus or something, probably raining. And she thinks about her level of happiness, how she's not as happy as she probably could be. And is it selfish for her to feel that, you know, I've got all these great things going in my life, I'm so blessed. Is it wrong for me to think I need to dedicate more time to make myself happy? What actually is happiness? Can it be measured? Can it be improved? How much control do we have over our level of happiness? So she spends a year of her life trying to incorporate ways each month to kind of up her happiness level, to recognize it for what it is, to make others around her happier, to improve herself. And this is just kind of her account of that time. Oh gosh, there's $1 in the back. I finished this and oh my gosh, look. And it's like been there for a while. Thanks. I didn't see it was, how did I not? Oh, because there's suggestions for further reading. I didn't go into that. That is hilarious. See, there's enough of a reason right there. Once you finish it, you get $1. I was taking some stuff. This is very rambling account, but I was taking some stuff the other day to the thrift store, and there was a jacket that I never wore, and I was like, it's time for it to go to a new home. And I checked the pockets, and there was $1 bill crumbled with like some white thing in the middle. I'm like, I really hope this isn't drugs. So anyway, let's continue. I'm getting very sidetracked. Yeah, it was a good book. I enjoyed it. I typically don't really go for self-help books because I feel like a lot of them are frankly cash grabs and not all that practical. This I did enjoy because she was pretty much saying, this is what I did, this worked for me, give it a try if you want to, it might work for you. But she's in no means saying, in order to be successful, you need to do these things. It's not that type of book. So that was pretty good. We had a pretty good start. The following book that I read was also for a book club. I've been going to quite a few of them lately, so that's going to be the majority of these. And that is The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters. This is a family drama. I kind of don't want to call it that because that almost seems to cheapen a bit what it's about. A family of, I do apologize if I'm going to be butchering this, Mi'kmaq, which is Native people that are from Canada, Nova Scotia area originally, I believe. So it focuses on the members of that family, and then later on another family is also introduced into the picture. So they work as berry pickers. They work on farms because racism exists and they can't get, you know, the father of the family can't really get a job that pays well enough to support everybody, but they're very close, they're very happy. It's a very sweet family. One day, the youngest in the family, her name is Ruthie, she's, I believe, 4 at the time. As everyone's picking up the berries, she goes off into the woods and she disappears. So we go from that initially when she's a young girl, we follow Ruthie, who later in the book goes by a different name that's been given to her, as she is growing up in a family with a white mother and father, and her name has changed, and we don't really know how she got there, and we don't know what happened the day that she disappeared. And then we also follow the other members of her family who have always wondered what happened to her years later. And it follows over 50 years, probably 60 or 70 years of this family. I had never heard of this book before, so I went into it kind of knowing nothing, which I think was a pretty good way to go. I do enjoy reading books, and I have not read many, which is, I should probably correct that, but I do like reading books written by or about people that are indigenous to certain countries, certain areas, a lot of the struggles that they went through. So I think it was a great topic. I did have a little bit of difficulty with the writing, the characters, the execution. I think this might have been the author's debut novel, so some of those things just kind of expected. Now, as I mentioned, we do follow Ruthie for many, many years, 50 plus years, but I never really got the impression, the feeling communicated well of her changing at all as a person, from a 4-year-old to an adult, to someone who got married, to someone who suffered something traumatic, to an old woman. She feels very much the same at 4 years old as she does at 70 years old. There's no real sense of her maturing mentally or transforming as a person. So much of the book is a study of these characters, and we spend so much time in their heads, but at the end of the book, I just didn't really get the feeling that I knew any of these characters that well. And it's not a short book, so that was also a struggle. This was not my book pick. Someone else did pick this, and then I guess others voted it up. I am happy that I read it. I think this ended up being a 3-star book for me. So I'm happy I read it. I think there are some good things about it, but it definitely wasn't my favorite. Another book that I am kind of in the midst of is Year of Yes. This was also for 75 Hard. I have not made it very far. I think this is about, so Shonda Rhimes, I have not seen Grey's Anatomy, but I think that's what she's known for best, is she's either the writer or the showrunner, or maybe both for that TV show. I've never watched it, but I know she's supposed to be a really good writer. The only thing I know about this is a family member or a friend told her one day, you never say yes to anything. And it kind of reminds me of like Jim Carrey, Yes Man. I think that's pretty much what this book is, except this actually happened to her. I think it's just, I don't know if it's a certain time period, but her in her life starting to say yes to a lot more. I don't know if it gets really adventurous, if she does crazy things, if she says yes in kind of more small ways. Ooh, first came the terrifying public yeses, delivering the commencement address at Dartmouth and appearing on Jimmy Kimmel Live. That would be really scary to go on a TV show live. So, okay, yeah, it's big things for her. So I do really want to continue it. I just haven't gotten very far. Let's talk next about the lowest rated book of the month, which is always so much fun to talk about. I don't know why, but it is. Most people I have heard really enjoyed this. This was also a book club pick. Again, not my pick. They are turning this into a TV show, I believe. And I think most people quite enjoy this. I'm sad I didn't, but I ended up giving this book 2 stars, and that is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. Richard Osman is supposedly a celebrity. When I say celebrity, I mean like he's well known for something other than writing, but I don't know. Like, I see his picture on the back and he kind of looks familiar, but not really. I don't know if you can even see that. Him. Does he look familiar to anyone? Anyway, I don't know. This book, I had some issues with. I had a lot of issues with this book. So, this is about 4 older people, which I love. I love books that are written about older people because it's so rare that you read about that. 2 men and 2 women. They're living in kind of a retirement village. It's not really a nursing home. It's a bit more independent than that, but it's kind of this older living community. I think it's called Meadowbrooks. And the four of them like to gather together on Thursdays in the puzzle room and go over cold cases, whether it be murders or other crimes, and try and solve them. Yeah. So one day, a murder and then two murders happens to people that they do know. I believe one of them is the owner of the living community, and then someone else kind of involved with that. And they decide they're going to set out and they're going to solve this crime. I did not enjoy like anything about this, and I really wanted to. I'm not always the huge, like the biggest fan of murder mysteries, so maybe that was a strike against it right off the bat. So many people reviewed this and said it was so funny. I didn't find it funny, like at all. We spend so much of the book with these four characters, but again, you just like the same with the berry pickers. Like at the end, you just don't know them very well. All we know is they're obsessed with murder, and every time there's a murder, they're so happy that there's like blood and gore and crime scenes and that someone was bludgeoned to death, and they like start like clapping like little children who are like getting an ice cream cone. I think the author means for them to come across in kind of like a quirky way. It doesn't for me. It just feels really creepy and unnecessary and makes me not really like the characters very much. I didn't like the tone. I felt like it was trying to be a like dark comedy, I guess. It did not mesh those two in a way that I thought worked well for either of them. I didn't really like the writing style. Part of it is written from, what's one of the older characters, the nurse? I can't remember, but it's written from her point of view, but it's like she's writing to you almost like a diary entry, and then it changes to a different type of writing style, and I really didn't like that either. The main characters, the four of them, just kind of felt like caricatures. They didn't feel fleshed out at all. I didn't care about the murders. They went on about how some of these people were like really bad people, and you just like don't care. I didn't care if it was solved. I didn't really care who did it. At the end, when the reasons are revealed, it's not really something that you would go back and be like, oh, how did they get this by me? Which is the ones that for me really get to you and stay with you the longest. It's like it was hiding in plain sight. That's not this at all. The narrative just felt very jumbled. It felt very messy. I didn't enjoy any of the things that other people seem to enjoy about this book, and for that reason, I gave it 2 stars. The book that I just finished a few days ago, I don't have the physical copy on me right now, but I'll stick it up here, and that is James. This is a retelling, Jim, the slave from Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. I have not read Huckleberry Finn, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and are both of them the Adventures of Tom Sawyer? Whatever those 2 books are. I haven't read those since like middle school, high school age. It has been a while, so I kind of remember the gist of it, but I know Jim wasn't written well, but I don't remember a lot of the specifics, honestly. I just remember painting the fence, and then I think he tries to pay someone else to paint the fence. I remember his father being abusive and then running off. I don't really remember a lot else that happens. In this book, we are told of all those experiences from James' point of view. One day, James overhears how he is going to be sold, and he's going to be separated from his wife and his daughter. So he decides to run away. It's his plan to escape up north. He's going to somehow get some money, and he's going to hire someone to come back down and buy his wife and daughter's freedom. So he escapes, he runs, and he runs right into Huckleberry. Huckleberry just staged his own death. You probably remember that from the original. And this really sucks for James because everybody is going to think that he killed Huck. They get a raft together, they escape out onto the water, and the rest of the book is really the characters that they run into along the way until the very end when some kind of the story is resolved. I did enjoy this book. I didn't love it as much as it seems like the rest of the population did. I've heard people rant and rave about this book. A lot about how it was so funny, which again, completely escaped me. I did not find it humorous at all. I think this was nominated for a Pulitzer. I didn't like it that much, but I still think it's definitely a book worth reading. I do really like retellings about people in older stories who are either overlooked or not written in the best light, kind of giving them a voice, giving them power, giving them their own story. I read that a lot, mostly with women who are kind of pushed to the side in a lot of the older tales, but definitely with, you know, race as well. It's important to show that. It is funny that there was this striking resemblance between James and East of Eden, where two characters have kind of do the same thing. In here, it's a Chinese man, his name is Lee. And in James, it's James who, when he talks to white people, he speaks in this kind of very broken language that's kind of difficult to understand, but he's actually incredibly intelligent and very articulate and very well read. But he has to hide all that, and he has to pretend that he isn't as intelligent as these white folks, because if they find out he is, that he's smarter than they are, it's probably not going to bode well for him in the future. I did start to find some of the story a little bit repetitive, where in the middle, it's mostly they get on this raft and then either it crashes or they have to go back to shore, and then something happens and they escape to the raft and they go back on the water and then they have to go back to shore. It seemed like that happened several times in a row. So I was kind of ready for it to move on to other things. There's this big reveal at the end, not at the end, it's kind of, well, towards the end, that just felt kind of out of nowhere. If you've read the book, you know the big reveal I'm talking about. It just didn't feel necessary. It felt really random. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a reason behind it. Obviously there's a reason behind it, and I see what the author was trying to do with it, but it wasn't really my favorite surprise. Obviously, your family is a huge motivation, and if you know someone is hurting your family, if your family are slaves, if your family can be whipped and sold, etc., that's a huge motivation for him to do whatever it takes to get free, to get back, to free his family. Family is great motivation. That's clear, right? However, in the book, we see very little communication between him and his wife or him and his daughter. So we're told, and it's very believable, that he loves them so much that he's willing to do this, but we don't really feel that motivation because, again, we're just told that, oh, I have to save my family, but we're not given any time with the family to kind of witness how strong the bond is, how much they love each other, etc., etc. Again, they're not main characters in the books. I'm not saying he has to like dedicate several chapters to them, because ultimately this is James' tale. But I feel like it would have been nice if we did get a little bit of interaction. I think you can make a big impact in just a tiny space. So that's it. Did I complain too much about that book? Sometimes when I start going, I'm like, all I'm saying is negative things, but I did like the book. It was the same as The Berry Pickers. I think it was a 3-star book. I think this one is probably going to be my only one. This is probably going to be a 4, I'm feeling. This one, just definitely 2. But other than that, those are kind of the books that I've read. It wasn't my greatest reading month. I didn't have any 5 stars, but I read books that I'm glad that I read, that I can now say that I've read, because I feel like half the people in the world has read this and James, so I can actually have an opinion on it, which is amazing. It all makes sense in my mind, but thank you guys very much for joining me on this video. I do have another one planned coming up, a little project that I need to do with this glass jar. Hopefully I don't break it in the meantime, but enjoy this fall weather as it's coming out, guys, and I will talk to you guys next time.